This is the other thing. This is the Neuralink thing. This is what, if Trump has a stroke and suddenly wakes up and sounds like Trump from, like he's instantly auto-quoting Art of the Deal all the time, it will because this asshole put a chip in his head. Trump might be he's certainly our first pumpkin president. But he might also be our first cyborg president by the end of this term.
Hadn't had an opportunity to work and be exposed to Neuralink's technology. You could just share a little bit about your founder story and what made you interested in brain-computer interface in the first place.
What made you interested in brain-computer interface in the first place? Now, this video goes out. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, by the way, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm Hal Sparks, and I carry on. Why? If you're Alex Jones or if you're Glenn Beck, I think those two, both of them are going to have to explain to me why they want this asshole in charge of anything. Because everything they have ever told me about what's coming from a technological standpoint, the post-human movement, right? That meta-humans, all that shit, all the stuff they're like, beware of smart cities, all that shit. That's all this motherfucker talks about. And you know, they're always like, the private sector could do shit just fine. We don't need the government doing this stuff. Yes, the transhumanist movement. We don't need the government doing this shit. Well, apparently he does, because he can't do it without your tax dollars. And so now, the president of the United States and this techno dipshit are going to start talking sometime in the next year about how everybody needs a chip in their fucking head. And I don't want to hear shit from Glenn Beck and Alex Jones. You guys line up and be the test subjects. This is your fucking guy.
Sure. Well, this is going to sound somewhat esoteric and maybe a bit strange, but I was actually trying to figure out how to mitigate the risk of digital superintelligence to the degree that we can improve our bandwidth to our digital tertiary self. I think we can better align artificial intelligence with a collective human will.
Yeah, what he means is that if you can't beat them, join them. And we'll just hook this shit up to our brain so that we can control it with our thoughts. And that'll solve it. So and here's the thing. I don't know if this motherfucker has ever had a dream or a thought, like a worry or an idea that might be bad or an impulse. Probably not. But Elon Musk has never had, hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, hanging out with Donald Trump, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein in that crowd. He's probably never had an impulse that occurs in his head that he probably shouldn't act on in the moment, right? Probably not. So what happens when you have a fucking Neuralink supercomputer input-output device in your goddamn brain and a deregulated connection to it, where you have to think real hard not to have it do something? Right? Are you fucking bananas? Look, I'm all for wearables. Like, put a little like futuristic crown. You know how hold on, chat, I'll bring this out. Is it Logan's Run where everybody has a little like band across their forehead? No. Like that, you know, it's not like in 70s sci-fi, everybody always had like a string across their forehead that like the world's smallest crown, and it didn't hold their hair back, but it was just like here all the time. Occasionally they'd have a little like line on it. Does anybody think of a movie that has that? Out of Time? Was that a movie? Well, yeah. Out of Time is that one with no. It's a Denzel movie. Wasn't it that movie with the whatever? Anyways, Seven of Borgnine. That's funny, right? Logan's run out of jewelry, whatever. But the point is, like, that just having a string across there. Everybody seemed to wear them in these futuristic movies, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is that for?" Right? It's like doing a skateboard. Yeah, Buck Rogers. There were some people like that. The Queen Amidala, was it, or something like that? The woman that he kept trying to knock boots with. Yeah, Pamela Hensley, Ardala. Yeah. Ardala would wear a little crown kind of thing. Let's see if I can find it. But I like the bird dude with the feathers on his head. God damn it! I'll find you guys know what I'm talking about. There was always like small head jewelry everybody wore, and nobody could figure out what the fuck it was. Like, why do you have a string across your forehead? Well, arguably, that'd be a wearable. Brainstorm is a big wearable. Hold on, I'll show you a Brainstorm. That's on its way. You could argue that they've already Brainstorm movie. That's the one that Natalie Wood died after that, right? Yeah. So they have this headgear that, the kid puts it on and he almost dies. Let's see if I can find this. That's the big one. I'll show you it's a great movie. It's ahead of its time. They make the commercial version of this device. Fuck you. Where's the... maybe I'll put it in here. Lab coats. Why does it go for that? Brainstorm movie headgear. Oh, let's put that on there. Yeah. So here's the demoing of this shit. I'll show you. And I gotta say, it's not that far off from the original. These are the original versions of it. And then they make the kid puts it on. It's like a small device. And the idea is that somebody finally sees somebody die in the thing. They record these moments in it, and then you can play them back. And in it, they find out basically, he finds out what happens when you die because he sees the other side. He puts the thing on, and this woman has had a heart attack, and he experiences there is life beyond this because he sees it, because it was on her the entire time, so he can see her entire experience. But there's the only picture I could find of it is the little piece where the son puts it on, but it's see this little headset piece? It's like a little, just little reading thing. There's a bunch of shit like that already. That I'm not against. Yeah, that looks like the Doc Brown helmet. It totally does. Right? I'm not against a wearable like that. There's a couple of them out there on the market, but there's no fucking way I'm letting somebody chip my brain, least of all this motherfucker. Please. Let me get this straight. Alex Jones likes this motherfucker, and his whole thing is we're totally going to have, I'm working on a way to, the easiest thing, I'm trying to figure out how to get chips in everyone's heads.
This is going to sound very strange, but so you can think of basically our intelligence is being divided into roughly 3 areas. There's sort of like a limbic system, like the sort of...
Oh my God. Controlled thoughts versus your autonomic nervous system, dummy. It's not that complicated.
Instinctual elements, the sort of the cortex and the planning part.
No, you're not hooking up cords to somebody's fucking lizard brain, you dum-dum. See what I mean? Here's what might finally end this dumbass, is that everybody hears just enough from him to think he's smart. And now, because he's going to be tied to Trump's side, and he's going to have to explain shit because Trump doesn't fucking understand any of this stuff. And again, it's some people going he's autistic or he's got Asperger's. That's not the point. There are autistic and people who have Asperger's who, when they're explaining things, have difficulty doing it, but they're right about what they're saying.
Then we also have a tertiary layer, which is all the computers and phones, applications, software that we use. So that you have a digital...
All right, and they're also slicing this up, but no, we don't. We don't have a tertiary intelligence beyond we look shit up.
Tertiary self. Basically, we're already an android, effectively. I think people feel this when they forget their phone. Forgetting your...
Yeah, it's my bit from fucking 2008. Yeah, when's my iPhone going to become a iPhone? I already wanted my eyeball. Yes, I stand in line at the Apple store to have them use a melon baller on my eyes so that I can just, because I'm sick of doing this. Yes, I wrote that bit fucking 10, 12 years ago.
Leaving a phone behind is like having missing limb syndrome. You're missing your part of your digital tertiary. The constraint.
Except no one has ever lopped off their hand and said, finally, I'm free of it. I no longer have to masturbate. Sometimes you leave your phone behind because you want to leave your fucking phone behind.
On human-machine symbiosis is bandwidth. What is especially output bandwidth? The output bandwidth of a human is less than 1 bit per second over the course of a day. So if you have 86,400 seconds in a day, the number of output bits that you produce, maybe there's some record.
This is nonsense. No, it is not. The output bits of a human being is 1 bit per second. What the fuck? Honest to God, this is just bullshit. This is nonsense. The calculations and the output of a human being is 1 bit a day, like a second. That is unfathomably stupid.
There are cases where it's above 1 bit per second, but very few people produce 86,400 output bits. So most people are averaging less than 1 bit per second over a 24-hour period.
Nonsense. What the fuck does that mean? Like, even this guy has to be going, I don't know, this sounds like nonsense. Because it is. This is fucking dumb. Whatever are you talking about?
And when we do speak, they say the number of symbols per second of speech typing is quite low, especially if it's going through.
No. Whoa. I don't give a fuck about quite low, motherfucker. 1 letter in binary is more than 1 bit. Or we are super efficient because we're putting out 1 bit of the level of data entry it takes on a computer, but within it is poetic thought. This is fucking stupid.
A phone. Then you just sort of have to.
And by the way, maggots, this is your hero. And I don't, if you don't jump to the front of the fucking line when he starts chipping people, I'll know you're full of shit. Okay? I don't want to hear anything. Front of the fucking line. Early adopters. Anything he says, if you're not buying one of his electric cars and driving it around, this motherfucker doesn't have hybrids. He's not going to do hydrogen cars, all electric. Why you're not driving an electric car if he's the most brilliant man in the fucking world and that's what he sells? I'm just calling you out. That's my bit for the day. Jesus Christ, 1 bit per second. Fuck off.
2 slow-moving meat sticks that are trying to type letters on a phone. So
2 slow-moving meat sticks that are trying to type letters on a phone. Hey, human beings, that's his jokey name for you, meat sticks.
So you really have just a few taps per second of characters. So your phone is like a supercomputer in your hands, and it is desperately trying to figure out what you want to say.
I'll tell you, I've personally experienced that phantom limb syndrome when I actually can't find my phone, and I hadn't thought of myself as a cyborg till you challenged me to think that way. But you're in a room of folks who've devoted their lives to neurologic disease, and I'm...
So could you please stop talking like an asshole and address what they're talking about? And don't say meat sticks when people deal with people with ALS all the time and spinal cord injuries.
I must confess to you that I had never actually thought of the output of the brain in terms of bits per second. But when you frame it that way, it makes it really clear why there may be a broader opportunity to make that virtual...
That's all right. My fucking earpiece, like my earbud is falling out. Jesus Christ. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? There is no That is not a thing. No one is challenging you to think that way.
Cyborg that we have now with our phone a little bit more efficient. So that's, as a starting point, what prompted your interest in Neuralink.
Yeah, so...
I'll translate. What you're saying seems like bullshit. Will you please get on with it?
Basically, I thought, okay, in order to have better human-AI symbiosis, we must solve the bandwidth problem. Below a certain bandwidth, we are basically just stationary to a computer.
Oh my fucking God. Do people think faster than they type? Yeah. Do people think faster than they talk? Yes. Sometimes that's good.
And at 1 bit per second, that's a very low data rate when computers are doing trillions of bits per second.
So
yeah, so fucking what? That's what they're supposed to do, stupid. The humanity is in the pause, if you will, between what I would do and what I should do. And a computer or a machine that's on a repetitive motion, there's all kinds of things that axles can spin a lot faster than I can move my arm. What's your fucking point? That's why we make them. But there's a reason why we got to figure out a way where I could turn the axle on my car by hand. It's just like, this is the stupidest fucking analogy.
When you think about brain-machine interface, why did you select the technical approach you did? I know a lot of thought's gone into that.
Yeah, so...
Are you sure? Because after watching what we've seen so far, I'm not convinced.
If you say, like, okay, we need to have ultimately 1 million bits per second or a billion bits per second, gigabit per second interface, then that means you need an implant. And ultimately, we'll need to replace the skull, and it's going to be a zillion wire. I mean, this is some bizarre sci-fi stuff, and I'm not... This is certainly optional, hopefully.
Mandatory replacement of my skull would have been a problem.
Mandatory chip and brain is not what we're saying here, for sure. But at a certain point,
No, he's saying mandatory chip in your brain is not. We might just have to replace the whole skull. The chip won't do it. Also, maggots, like I said, here comes your chance. Before the end of this next term, super genius is going to replace your fucking skull. And I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear a fucking peep. You're going to get your government chip like a fucking big boy.
You say, like, okay, how many electrodes are needed in order to interface with, have a whole brain interface?
Trizillia bagillions.
Yeah, I've heard you mention that larger goal of whole brain interface. One thing that's really struck me by the approach that's been taken is, I think as neurosurgeons, we often contemplate the natural history of the disease and competing risk and benefit.
This is what happens when a person with real knowledge in their area talks to someone who is simply bullshitting and tries to keep them on track to something that actually resembles reality. Because there is something to brain-computer interfaces. Those things will happen in future, sure. When, who can say, who will start this and who will be, make the biggest advances. The idea that it's going to happen here and not in the Netherlands is a bit silly because they're way far ahead in a bunch of these things as well. But that's where he thinks he's going, and he wants everybody to think he's building super brains. And this is a great way to bullshit because so few people are going to want to do it that you can put it off for fucking ever. Nobody is lining up to do this. Although maggots, again, you'll never need a vaccine again. The robo brain will just tell you you're sick and tell you to report to a cleansing cylinder or some shit.
And Neuralink, as a company, has started with folks who have ALS and spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
These kind of first steps in terms of technical approach. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Again, this is him trying to get him on track to actually say something worthwhile instead of just going, in the future, we'll all live in the orb.
Yeah, absolutely. Long-term goal.
Oh, and by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm Hal Sparks, and I will continue to Hal Sparks as long as there is a need for Hal Sparkses. And if you're a troll or a maggot, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm just reminding you of my name so that it can pop into your head next week at a really inopportune time. All right.
Like I said, is mitigating civilizational risk associated with a divergence of biological and digital intelligence. That's the long-term goal. Obviously, then...
Okay, what he's talking about there, sort of, is what happens if computers get smarter than people? Well, it depends on your definition of smart, capable, and what they're hooked up to. What happens if Skynet gets self-aware? Okay, well, define self-aware. It can think. You can trick it into thinking it's aware when it isn't. You can have it play a cyclical program in the same way that you can make a piece of like factory equipment keep stacking shit even though there's nothing to stack until it beats a hole in the table.
You got to parse that into like, well, what are we going to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
So the starting point with the first Neuralink device is 1,000 electrodes, and with just 100 of those electrodes active, if you take our first few patients, you know, we are setting world records. Admittedly,
these are world records that are pretty low. Yes, you know, it's really easy to set a world record on the first thing. Yay, you're in the Guinness book. Doesn't mean it works. I mean, it's congratulations, you're in the Guinness book. For what? You're the first person to get their dick caught in a car door. Now, good luck getting it out.
the world records that are pretty low. But we're getting around 10 bits per second.
Mm-hmm.
Then the output of humans isn't 1 bit per second, especially if they're talking. Translate my talking into use a speech to text program. Tell me how many bits that takes. How about this? Have a computer work out a joke I'm telling and tell me what the translation in bits and memory required for it to figure out what the fuck I'm saying and get the joke. How many bits, motherfucker? How many? It's a trick question. 70 bazillion. Kazillion, trillion, Google is billion, zillion. Yeah.
And there's a path to 1,000 bits per second, which would be literally 100 times more than the next record.
Yes, technology is exponential. Congratulations. So
we want to do the implants in where there's the highest gain and the least risk. So we call.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the highest gain, least risk is watching how it works with you. How about that? And I'm sure it won't look anything like the dude in Scanners.
The first implant telepathy, which really just it's interfacing with the motor cortex, and it's basically looking at signals as though somebody moved their arm, and just reading that signal and then sending that signal to the patient's phone or computer, so they can then move the cursor around just by thinking. If people have seen the videos of Nolan, it's pretty impressive what he can do. In fact, shortly after getting the implant, he spent all night playing video games just by thinking.
Yeah, and those are the records you're talking about in those first two prime patients where you're able to extract signals from their brain at record bits per second and enable them to work in the world as those of us who lose their phone would use today.
Yeah. They hook up areas of your brain you think back, right, left, right, whatever, and that's how you type, or you fucking make like pong paddles and you go up, down. You think when I think up, it goes up. When I think down, it goes down, and they measure that, and then I just do that again. You can do that with wearables already.
Yeah, absolutely. And
absolutely fucking nothing. Wait 1 second. This shit's been around outside your fucking head for a long here we go. Here you go. Jesus Christ. Why would I let this asshole drill holes in my head when I could just wear a silly hat? Good Lord. Where's the Neuralink calibration in PNA Nexus? This is a guy named Hussein Alawiya, a graduate student in Dr. Jose de Milan's lab, wears a cap packed with electrodes that is hooked up to a computer. The electrodes gather data by measuring electrical signals from the brain, and the decoder interprets the information and translates it into game action. And so how you think about it, like, get the fuck out of here. We are Devo, absolutely. It's fucking stupid. Hold on. You can buy shit on Amazon right now. There's like, there's the Epic, which is like $1,500. It's probably the best one. Let's see, Nature. I'll open this one. There's brain computer interfaces. I'm trying to find like the commercially. Here's fucking results. I don't want books. Oh, that's what they were asking for. Hold on. Let's see this one. I'll just show you this one real quick. Where are you? Get out of here. I don't need data. I need data. I cannot make bricks without clay. Let's see. Wearable. Where are we? Here we go. Brain computer devices control machines with your mind, BCI. The groundbreaking wearable brain interface. The Aura Ring. I don't want the book. Okay. I will find one. Wink on here. Because there's this really cool one that looks like, it kind of looks, the Mind Link. There it is. The biofeedback device. Open that one up. That one's available on Alibaba. Perfect. Neurosity Crown. That's on, Cognixion. I'm just going to get a couple of these. There we go. So here you go. Where are you? Yeah, this thing's kind of cool. See this thing? It's it works on focus and stuff, and it trains you on your. Somebody noticed my Sherlock quote. This one fits on your. It looks like the devil's horns. I've been waiting for. Talk about how like they're gonna make us all computer cyborgs, and this picture to come out. I've been waiting for because it looks like horns. I'm like waiting for one of these dumb fucks to make a video about like they're gonna make us all into robot people or whatever. Would Amazon even notice a boycott? No. This is. So Cognixion, this tracks like your eye, and it has these electrodes in the back of your head. And it turns you into Lando Calrissian's guard. So not only does it track your eye movements, but it also, if you close your eyes, you can still track this. Or like, again, no holes bored in your brain necessary. This is one of the test ones. There's another one of the testy things. Yeah, there's a bunch of these that clip onto your ear. There are these little cat ears that track your, where is it? This is the one that I was talking about. Review highlights advances in wearable things. This is like a full crown, but this one right here you wear on, and it puts the electrodes on your forehead and that kind of stuff, and you can control your computer. They already have these for patients. This shit, like you can get these things already work. Oh, this guy too. This one actually is a mood changer. This doesn't control anything. What it does is it sends impulses to your nervous system in some areas where the nerves are very close to the skin, and it either calms you down or wakes you up or focuses you or whatever, in the same way that being slapped in the face would, or having your feet rubbed would. It's that kind of, biofeedback a little bit. This guy. This thing I think is the Epic. It's awesome and stupid at the same time. Like at one of these days, just know that I'm going to do Friday Eye wearing one of these fucking things. And you're going to go, why is he doing that? And then you're going to hear a voice speaking on the thing that's the AI going, I'm glad you asked me that, Hal. And then this is NextMind. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the AI based one. So hold on one second. And again, these are options that don't involve this motherfucker drilling holes in your goddamn head. One last thing, and I know I'm nerding out about this. Yeah, and Snap bought this. So in 2022. So Snapchat will have access to this thing. So this is what it looks like. This little guy, and you wear it on the back of your head, and because there's a ton of activity in the back of your skull. And that's why you get a lot of tension back here in your head, is because a lot goes on back there, but also you react to it. There's a lot of neural activity and a lot of like physical activity. They use it for ALS patients, spinal cord injury. Stephen Hawking used it. Yes, absolutely, Andrea. And these are things that are already available, and you don't have to, and they pull a lot more information. Again, you can play video games with these fucking things, and they don't require this dickhead putting a chip in your goddamn brain.
I think we'll get to the point pretty quickly where someone with a Neuralink implant will outperform somebody who's using their hands to play a video game.
No. No, you won't.
What do you think the timeline for that is?
1,000 years. At his rate, no. That shit like that is going to happen. It ain't going to come from him.
We won't hold you to it.
Sure.
Yeah. It'll come right after automated Tesla taxis that you can buy and take you to work and drop you off and then go make money for you.
I mean, I do have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines.
You don't say.
But if I wasn't optimistic, I wouldn't be starting these.
Wait. Did you hear the laughter? This is an audience of neuroscientists, people who are actually fucking brilliant. These are not just brain surgeons, like skull surgeons. These are brain surgeons. These are people who are dealing with, like, how do we regrow nerves? Shit like that. That's what these people are gathering. And listen when he says, I have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines. Listen to the audience.
I do have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines. But if I wasn't optimistic, I wouldn't be starting these companies, probably.
Yeah.
Do you hear the laughter?
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
what are you talking about? Every business startup is optimistic. Even people who make prepper food are optimistic that the world's going to end and people are going to need to eat their fucking paint bucket pancakes, you dumb motherfucker. Optimism is the default activity of humans. You wouldn't eat if you didn't think you were going to live to shit it out.
but I think given that we're already pretty much at a point where we're pretty close to on par with the video game.
No, you aren't. Because so are these people, and you don't need a fucking hole in your head. People are already playing video games at a very high speed anyways without putting fucking impulse nerve sensors in people's skulls, you dumb fuck. We're already there with just wearables.
Basically, you can play a video game at a comparable level to someone with hands. I think with our second generation device, which will have 3,000 electrodes, and we'll get a lot better at placing those electrodes.
We'll get a lot better at placing those electrodes in your head.
It's only 100 electrodes being effective. We'll both improve the yield and we'll increase the number of electrodes.
So you're going to increase the number of electrodes when you increase the number of electrodes. And increasing the number of electrodes will give you more feedback from more electrodes. Slow down. You're making me feel like the person in sci-fi movies that goes, "Speak English, Doc."
So we'll go from, say, 100 electrodes that are reading to, I don't know.
Yes, if anybody has trouble with math, I think he's going to assert that 3,000 is a higher number than 100.
Out of 3,000 electrodes, maybe 15 and a half, so like 1,500 are reading. So at that point, the data rate is far in excess of what someone playing a video game with their hands could do.
That's not a limitation of the hands. That's a limitation of the controller. All you're saying is you'd give them a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. Of course they can play faster if they have a jump, fire, roll button as opposed to jump, fire, roll. Or I have to go up, up, down, down, left, right, center, center to get a fucking ammo pack to drop from the sky. And all they have to do is go, and it happens. Of course they'll play faster because they don't have to actually do the work of playing the physical game. There's part of the point of a video game is eye-hand coordination. Stupid.
And we can reduce the latency. The moment you think of a move, it happens instantly on the computer. Anybody see the flaw in that? Anybody? The minute you think of a move, it happens on the computer. Anybody see the problem potentially with that? Yes. Wow, he's invented hotkeys. That's exactly right. Everything's a hotkey that does 30 motions at once because you're like, oh, shoot, like, thank God that the controller slows you down. As opposed to what, currently if you play a video game, you have to move your hand. So that's like you've got to send signals to the muscles. The muscles.
Yeah, that would be all the bits that humans produce.
Have to move. Your finger takes a certain amount of time to move. So you basically got to move the meat puppet. If you don't have to move, actuate the muscles in your hand. Your finger's going to move at a certain rate, like millimeters per second. But if you don't have to do any of that, you can literally think it immediately with no latency. You'll outperform someone who has to use the hands.
Yeah.
Right, but you also might think contradictory things, and it can't read exactly what you're doing. And if it's not getting the impulses right, if you have a conflicted thought about what to do, it will negate. It'll negate whatever you're trying to do, and your character will basically just freeze while the other person is going shoot, 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 stumble, thump, finish him. While your brain told all of your like, what does it do when happens? Because when you're gaming, you can separate from pushing the buttons because there's a secondary motion, and you separate those things. But if your brain is just all you're fucked.
Yeah, I think as surgeons, we really take pride in being efficient and using our hand, but when you're a reductionist like that, it actually makes me feel like I'm actually not particularly efficient. If you could just think and do it, I think I'd probably get a lot more.
No.
Done. One of the things that struck me.
By the way, this guy tries to be cute about these things, and it's fine. He's trying to be the host of if I didn't have to use my hands, I'd get a lot more done. If I could masturbate just like this, I'd save so much time. But then I got to wash my hands, and I have to clean, and I've got to trim my nails because I go wild. Like, yeah, if you took that out of the equation, I suppose.
In terms of the technical approach is obviously you have the implant and then you're extracting those signals and have a recording algorithm and then you're actually affecting an action. And in one of the patients you actually had a lead retraction but then were able to tune the recording algorithm to actually recover that function. And could you maybe say a little bit about that kind of vertically integrated approach? And
oh my God, he's just about to be dazzled by the part he doesn't understand. It didn't work, and here's why it didn't work, and we made it work.
How that's going to let you scale a little bit?
Sure. Well, since really none of this stuff existed before, we had to design and build everything from scratch. And I mean, it's basically like having an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that replaces a piece of skull, and you've got. So
it kind of has been done. Did you hear what he said? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, did you hear what he just said? This is Mr. Super Genius. And granted, I suppose, Chandra, oh, thank you. Ask them if they've done counting.
be like having an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that replaces a piece of skull, and you've got the.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's the plan. So what if we took this is what weed and wealth does to people. Sit around smoking on. What if we took your Apple Watch and all of its sensors and we just put like little tendrils on them, and we drill a hole in someone's skull and just put the Apple Watch there. Like we cover your head in Apple Watches, but we have digital like optic fibers that have a sensor on the end that's really small, and we attach those to your brain, and then we go fuck ourselves.
These electrodes, very, very fine electrodes that are implanted with a surgical robot.
Maybe you can share a little bit about the robot, the R1 robot that's used to implant the threads.
Yeah, so the threads are really too small to be manipulated by hand, and they need to be placed with extreme precision very quickly. The brain is moving.
Yeah, so we're developing a robot that can grab you by the skull and put electrodes in it really fast. We just come up, knock you out, give you a little Dexter jolt, and put you in a chair. Take the top of your head off like a fucking jar of peanut butter, the screw top method of Dr. Huffar. And then when it's done, you wake up and you're like, I feel like a woman.
All the time due to breathing and heartbeat. It's not just sitting there. It's like a pulsing thing. So, and you're trying to get.
It is, you're right. It is like a pulsing thing. It's a lot like that. Yeah. The brain, that's how I describe the brain that way. It's like a pulsing thing. I'm beginning to think Trump knows more about brain surgery than this asshole.
An electrode to a specific depth while this jello balloon is just moving around all over the place. So it's kind of an impossible thing to do by hand. These threads are just too tiny, and the level of precision required is beyond what people can do.
Gee, you mean like a syringe gets stuff into the skin in a way that just slicing the skin open and pouring the insulin in wouldn't do? Does this asshole think we invented scalpels because we couldn't get our fingernails thin enough?
I'd maybe liken it to being similar to computer-controlled machining or 3D metal printing where you've got a laser welding tiny bits of metal dust. There's just no way that humans do not have the level of precision necessary to implant the electrodes.
This is true. This is how all technology works, fuckwad. All of it. We know. No. How does he fucking think open heart surgery works? Do you think you just go like that and go, hey, you hold this. Okay, I'm going to take the heart out. We don't need any. Put the knife and the scissors down. I got this. Frack. Fuck you. What are you talking about?
It's, to fractions of a millimeter of XYZ position.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, as a group of surgeons, many of us to varying stages have incorporated robotics into our practice.
Yes. They're way ahead of you, dum-dum.
When you hear precision exceeding human capacity, you think, is this going to be a disruption, or is this an augmentation to what surgeons do? And I know you have some thoughts around that, and there's maybe some analogies in ophthalmology, so would love to hear that perspective.
Yeah.
So an analogy to ophthalmology. Yeah.
So I think the ophthalmology analogy is the right one. With LASIK, an ophthalmologist will oversee perhaps a half a dozen or a dozen LASIK machines and make sure the machine is the patient getting the right operation in the correct eye, and is the machine operating properly. But thereafter, the patient will sit in the LASIK chair, and the robot's going to basically laser your eyeball. And now this is much better than someone getting a hand laser and hand lasering your eyeball.
Really? Is it? You think? I wouldn't have thought that. So I should go to the the corner LASIK guy, Dr. Shaky's eyeball emporium. Fuck you. Why do people think this guy is smart? That's it. All right. Shit. Okay. You want to talk about what the job might be for me beyond, the obvious pushback shit that I have to do? It is going to be my job to help people understand just how stupid this motherfucker is. Now, I don't want to tell everybody. Hang out, okay? Okay? So settle in here, all right? I'm just telling you guys, because I want the maggots to think he's a genius, because I can't wait for them to show up to get their early adopter 500 electrode brain implant to make them super duper smart. Make them art of the deal smart. And suddenly they wake up and they're like, wow, I feel great. I just want to buy gold shoes and Chinese Bibles.
Which would have varying results. I think it'll be something similar to LASIK, where perhaps a neurosurgeon overseeing half a dozen or a dozen of the Neuralink robots that are doing the implants and just about.
Yeah, of course they would.
Obviously making sure it's the right implant in the right location for the right purpose and that everything's okay with the patient. So it would be like a massive amplification. I think it's kind of necessary that it be a massive amplification because...
Yeah. Hey, Glenn Beck, Alex Jones, where the fuck are you guys? Massive amplification, multiple Neuralink systems going on at once. One doctor just kind of checking off, is that the right brain? He's got the right brain, does he? Yeah, he's got the, did he sign the form? Yeah, Captain, he doesn't have to use his real name. We'll just go with his online Twitter handle. What is it? Captain Maggot 1990? Yeah, cool. He check. And yeah, there's a little extra blood there, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll clean up. Whatever. We'll give him he gets a free shirt when he leaves anyways. It's all good.
Because there's simply not enough neurosurgeons to do this all by hand. It's like physically impossible.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we're past, they know that. These are neurosurgeons, you dumb motherfucker.
we're talking about ultimately doing tens of millions of these things. Like maybe there's 8 billion people in the world. I don't know, maybe at least a few billion are going to want this, maybe more.
Yeah, this is investor talk, and it's fucking nonsense.
So then how do you get billions of devices?
Yeah, well, you obviously start with maggots. You obviously start with anybody. You get a discount if you have your Make America Great Again hat. Come into Elon Musk's, Brain Mart and bring your maggot hat, and you can wear it out because it'll help cover the stitches. And you'll be one of the first billion. What? All right. Work with me on this. Is there any... By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, and that will continue to be true for the foreseeable future because do good, be good is what we do around here. First of all, if Trump supporters don't line up to let this motherfucker give them brain surgery, I'm going to call bullshit on everything they believe. And secondly, that anybody thinks this guy is actually smart and isn't just spitballing sci-fi and seeing if he can hire engineers to make shit happen, and when they don't, he fires them or just continues to bullshit investors until the absolute last day, which is the Trump plan, which is why they're buddies. I mean, it's going to be necessary. It'll be incredibly important for people to start recognizing this stuff, right? But when are the Alex Joneses of the world and the fucking, especially Glenn Beck and all these motherfuckers, do you think they saw this video? I mean, he's their fucking hero. They think it's him and Trump, and fuck, these two are the fucking pillars, man. They're the ones holding up America. These two guys. Trump and Elon, we love Elon. Elon, he's doing the things with the rocket and fucking bing bong bing. and it's all burnt and the paint job's fucked up and he'll hug you like a baby and Elon will love Elon, right? Where the fuck is, hey, Joe Rogan, are you getting Neuralink? I would, you know what it would, the beauty, the fucking beauty that it would be for me to sit down and watch what I just watched with you guys, with any of those motherfuckers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end this video, if I may, with a challenge to all of these assholes. Hey, you're feeling good right now, right? You're on a high. You're probably feeling really confident right now. So here's my challenge. Go find that video. It's called Elon Musk Gives Amazing Neuralink Update from Farzad or whatever. But it's an interview he did at CNS. Their 2024 annual meeting. You can go watch the whole thing. The neurosurgery gathering. He gave a special talk. You can even watch this dude's cut down version of it. Okay? Watch that whole thing. That's it. I dare you. I fucking dare you. I'm not even going to end it with like, watch it and then tell me you still think he's smart. Watch it and then tell me you think, I don't need to hear anything. Because I don't think, I wouldn't trust what you said anyways. Just fucking watch it. Joe Rogan, watch that fucking talk. Glenn Beck, watch that fucking talk. Please, this motherfucker is going to chip at least a couple of billion people, and he's going to have multiple machines running at once and a doctor walking around with a fucking clipboard making sure it's the right brain. Get the fuck out of here. You won't do it. You won't do it. Because he's a mile wide and an inch deep. Intellectually, Elon Musk is hung like a can of tuna. These thimble-dicked motherfuckers think girth and depth are the same fucking thing. And you're going to tell me that this motherfucker's going to outsmart everybody else? You think even with access to the fucking White House, he's going to get a head start like that? Like, you think he's actually the richest man in the world? Putin is. And this whole thing about like, XAI is going to be worth $40 billion. Apple's a $1 trillion company. So is NVIDIA. There is no X without NVIDIA. You want to call him an engineering marvel and a genius and all that fucking shit? Then why is he buying his chips? Why hasn't he got his own lithography machine that is better than the TSMC one, and he's printing his own fucking chips that outpace and work better because the Neuralink scientists are working with fucking to make digital organic chip, because he doesn't know any of this shit. It's nonsense. And I got news for you. The tariffs are going to drive prices up. That hasn't changed because he won the fucking election. Right? The three-card money dude always wins. But he'll let you win the first couple of times. Doesn't mean the game's not rigged anymore. And that said, people have been asking, and I feel like you guys need it. Let me see if I can talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go get a cat. By hook or by crook. Chippers. They want the cat. It's okay. Murphy's a man. Murphy's a handsome man. I know, it takes a while. Hi, Murph. Say hi, Murph. Yeah, tell him. You're a handsome man. I know you hate it. But you're a sweetheart. You're Murphy. You're Batman. You are. Yeah. Well, tell him a story, Murph. What were you doing? You were? Oh, you hate that? Well, I know. Well, yeah, I know you hate being picked up. What are you going to do? You don't know? Well, tell them a story. Tell them a story. You do too. You know lots of good stories. Uh-huh. Well, I know I need to clean up around here. You're right. Well, don't judge me. I've been through a lot lately. I have. All right. All right, here you go. There you go. Down you go. You okay? Well, then, all right, leave if you want to leave. I love you too. Where you going? Where you going? Upstairs? Fine. Have a good night, Murph. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Murphy. Murphy is our cat that will not shut the fuck up. He's particularly good at talking at 4 o'clock in the morning. Big Tuesday, like when I'm sleeping in, like Tuesday, Thursdays, I don't have morning shows. He didn't care. I could stay up and work, or I can whatever, on like Monday night, Wednesday night, I could stay up and work and sleep in a little. No. Getting up at the same every fucking day. Murphy is a Russian blue. That's why we don't trust him. Is he named after RoboCop? I would like to think so. Summer named him. So, I don't know. Summer gives her cats the same, like, names with the same first letter. So, Murphy, Maddie, Molly. I had Chip and Chud, but that was an accident. Chud I named. I totally copped to Chud, and we miss her very much. But Chip, that was his name when we were fostering him, because he had little black spots on him. So he looked like Vanilla Chip ice cream, I think is where they got it from. But that was his foster name, and it stuck. I didn't give him a new one. We didn't update it, because we weren't expecting to keep him. And then, of course, he was a foster fail. He does flip me the paw. Yeah. So, yeah, I miss Chud. Yeah, he is spying on me. He's wandering around. He actually went over, I think he went over to look at the robot. Oh, you're saying, Hal, what robot? If you weren't on the 24-hour live stream, you might not have met the robot. And there was a lot of stuff going, hi, Murph. Excuse me. Yeah, you're okay. Where'd she go? Oh, no battery. Sorry. Needs to get charged. I'll show you guys. It's not running right now, so I show you. This is Luna. And Chip was very scared of Luna. It needs to be charged, so she's not on right now. Chip was very nervous about Luna and would not come downstairs if it was on. And then today, for whatever reason, Luna just decided, I think there's this weird thing where it can recognize pets now. It knows a pet versus a person. And so it does this stuff. Like when it saw Chip, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, having to do with a robot that I actually own. And it went like this. It went like this and saw Chip, and it went like that. And it moved its ears down, and then it backed up a little bit, and then it looked a little up like that. It did all this, like, the stuff that they teach you to do with felines to make yourself, make them comfortable with you. It did that stuff. And Chip was fine after that. Didn't run away. It was super weird. Yeah, the Luna is cool. It's very R2D2, although it has ChatGPT in it now, and it doesn't quite know when to listen. So the fucked up part is it will sometimes, if you go, hello, Luna, and talk to it, you're supposed to be able to get it to do little goofy things, and it's got AI in it, so it will react to it. But it will also, since it's got ChatGPT, it can talk. And so it will get into talk mode. Anyway, somebody was saying, where is this? Yeah, I'll show it to you guys later once I charge it back up. It was running around playing with the cats for a while. So somebody was saying, how I'm suffering from election not going our way, depression, 4 more years of Trump. I can't believe America voted this disgrace back into office. I don't understand. Chris, it's an awful thing. We will get through it together. And all a circumstance outside of our circle of influence can do with us is codify who we are as good people. We will get up every day, do good and be good. And if we find somebody who's being victimized by this circumstance and we can help, we will do it. That's all we can do. And what my job is to keep you as aware and informed as I can and keep your mood up so that when that shit happens, when stuff goes sideways, you're the person who's useful. In that circumstance, you are the valuable person. You're the one that doesn't panic. You're the one that goes, I know what this is. I know what they're saying. I have a reaction. I know what can help. But, if you're in fight or flight because that's where they want you, you're not 100% you. And so what I'm trying to do is be 100% me so you can be 100% you. Because I don't have whatever skills you might have. I don't have the ideas that you will have, right? I will think the way I think and react the way I react. And I will, have I would say, a pretty damn broad view of the world, but I can't think of everything. And I wouldn't react because of my life experience the same way you might. So we need you. We need you. We need you to be fully you. And that's my job, is to help you get there and stay there. Right? So, and if you're not there yet, I'll do my best to get you there. Right? Because I haven't stopped caring about the stuff I care about. I haven't stopped loving the people I love, worrying about the same issues that I worry about. I'm not okay with all of this, with any awful in the world, right? We knew even if Trump went away that the rest of it wouldn't go with him. And honest to God, and I'm like understanding everybody's smarting on the prediction markets, and we can play that game later on about whether she was going to win or he was going to win. But now we are where we are. We knew that the people around him would still be there trying to do what they're trying to do everywhere. And he had left abortion up to the states, for example, and that challenge would be there for all those states. And even getting a national Roe level of law passed was going to be a struggle with the House the way it was and all that kind of stuff. We know that. It was still going to be work. So I'm still here to do that work. And if I let them diminish me, I'm not good at what I do. Right? So that's what I'll be here doing. Yep. Fight the good fight every moment. Yeah, I'll sing. I'll wait to sing some Triumph for you eventually, but. Yeah, stay frosty, people. Keep your head on swivel. And I got to tell you, and also if you want to be, if you want to be mad, even if you want to be mad at me, that's good. Send it my way. This is how I deal. And if you hate it, then that's okay too. That's how you deal. As long as whatever you do to deal gets you to a better you, so that you get to a situation where they haven't got you on your back foot all the time. Whatever works. Whatever works. If you want to throw some awful my way, You're welcome to. Yeah, if you're exhausted, that's okay too. Meanwhile, I got you. So, love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you for, and interestingly enough, Rob will be on with me tomorrow for Friday Eye. And I have a feeling with Elon this close to the White House, people might start paying attention to Friday Eye a little more. Huh?